Welcome to the Nosey Gardener channel. In today's episode, we are in Tuftonboro with Deb. This is a new home built in what year?
2022.
Okay.
3 years old.
3 years old. So they started from scratch completely. And they just completed the landscaping here in the front just a few days ago.
Pretty much.
Just a few days ago.
In the heat.
In the heat. So Deb is going to take us through the property. We're going to do the perimeter around the house, show you the view, and we'll just kind of see what unfolds as we're walking around. You can tell us your vision and maybe what worked, what didn't work, what you've learned,
Okay.
what your plans for the future are. Anything else you want to add?
No. Bob won't like that, but
He won't like what? That you have nothing to add?
my plans for the future.
Okay. Yes. The husbands are always wanting to keep the budget down.
Yes, they are.
All right. But they're no fun.
All right. So we just landscaped in that lovely heat the other day. We have boxwoods and a limelight hydrangea in the middle on this side. And then I have several perennials in here. I designed the Japanese maple rock sculpture. I wanted to add a little bit of interest. I love pretty much natural landscaping that kind of goes with the flow of the land. We have a ton of rocks because we're on the rim dike from the volcano, and our property has many, many, this one included, which if you look at the front, I don't know if you'll be able to get that, but it's two different colors. It's like a lighter gray on the inside and a darker gray. And supposedly that is from when the rock came out of the earth.
Oh, interesting.
And
okay.
it just got covered in the black part of the earth coming out. So it's a little different. We kept that one for this garden specifically when we found it.
I like how you raised up the area with the Japanese maple.
Yeah.
Kind of give it a little height.
Yeah,
there.
I love that. I would have done it over here too, but I got in trouble enough. And then we did the low growing mountain hydrangeas.
Beautiful.
Which the flower looks similar to a lace cap hydrangea. It doesn't get the full roundness like most hydrangeas. And then my husband did the stone wall. He built all that around
Very
to
nice.
kind of give it a little something.
And the potted plants just for that annual color.
Yep. I love container gardening. That's how I started. We had a very small deck at our first house, and I wanted plants, and I had railings full. I had so many plants on this little tiny deck.
Now you can really expand.
So now I'm loving this. And then these are snowball hydrangeas. They got a little damaged with a storm the other night, so we have them supported, and hopefully they'll come back.
And it's it's newly done. We're just trying to highlight that. And you know, so some plants might be in a little bit of distress. Yeah. But everything looks great. And do you have irrigation, or are you hand watering?
We don't. I hand water everything. That I love watering. Like I love deadheading. I love watering. So that's my thing. Bob did help me with this because it was just a little bit big. But
and I know you just planted it, but do you have future plans on what you want to do to it?
We do. We have, once we get to the rock garden in the back, those plants have been in about 2.5 years. And so next year we're going to do the divide, and a lot of those plants are going to come out here. So that's why it looks a little sparse, because I have plans to bring some of those out. And
is your goal mainly flowering versus greenery?
I love flowers, but I also like perennials and plants that once they lose their flowers, they still have interest. They have a shape and good color. It just looks like a landscape.
Right. That's a good plan.
Yep. And then I have some catnip here, and that's a Wagella, a pink one. The leaves were very dark when I got it, so it's kind of lightened up a little bit, but it gets pink flowers. So I tried to combine different colors, blues, yellows, pinks,
nice.
in here. And then I have some salvia. I have a crane's bill, or perennial geranium, as some people know. And in the back, that is a strawberry cream hydrangea tree. That'll be more like a tree structure.
Right here in front of the
to hide the utility. That's the goal of that.
Yeah, those are so hardy. That'll be lovely there.
Yep. And then this is a pink Kusa dogwood.
Beautiful.
She's a little bit stressed from being moved.
Right.
we're hoping that everything will be great next year once, you know, she had already bloomed. She was in
Oh,
full
okay.
bloom. And then with the heat, I think it kind of stressed her out
Yeah,
a little
too
bit.
much.
So
I'm sure she'll be fine.
yeah. And
Beautiful spot.
so we also did put some lilacs back here.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to hide the big gas tank,
Yeah.
which I absolutely hate.
Right.
But unfortunately it's rented, so I can't paint it green to match. But these are proven winner ever bloomerang lilacs.
Oh, okay.
And so you get
In the
3
back.
seasons with
Okay.
the 4 plants there. You get them spring, summer, and fall. They'll bloom. As long as you deadhead the spent blooms, they'll come back. These are burning bushes that we actually brought from our other house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then these 2 little ones are hydrangeas, which are probably going to go into the front because they're a little bit close. They were there before the lilacs.
And so you're kind of introducing the larger rocks here as we go towards the back.
I love just rocks everywhere. Probably do a few more in here too. And that is platycodone.
Okay, very nice. The purple,
which is a bellflower. It'll get tall and they spread very, very well.
That's great.
Yeah, and then I have a buddleia, some salvia, another cranebill or perennial geranium, and a white buddleia, a light blue salvia, delphinium, catnip, and Brunera, which is supposedly going to be more deer resistant than hosta. Has a little bit of an interesting leaf to it, a little bit more texture.
Okay. Now I notice you don't have any hosta here. Do you have some out in the rock
do.
garden? Okay.
I do have hosta. I'm probably not going to plant them here because I don't want to press my luck. I've been pretty lucky. I only had one nibbled on just a tiny bit, but
I call it deer salad.
Yeah,
They
and I
love
think
it.
it's kind of the structure of the hill is kind of awkward for the deer.
Oh, what a nice transition here.
Yeah, and so then this is the start of the rock garden. We brought these from Barrington, the daylilies. I have a spirea.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Tons of plants in here.
And this was all done 2 years ago.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So they've 2 full years here. Nice.
2 full. We did plant a few things in the fall of 22, but most of the stuff we had to winter in a mound and then put it in the following spring because we just ran out of time with the new construction. But
how are you managing weed control in the mulch? Have you had any problems?
Not really. The mulch definitely helps keep it down. I weed, bob weeds. You know, if we see anything, we just pluck it out.
Okay.
I just transformed my concrete bird bath into a planter.
I like it.
That I bought from Mr. Roby in Barrington in 1998.
Oh, wow. So you've had that
I
a while.
love it. And he was such a nice man that I want to keep his memory. Have a lot of plants that are very sentimental that came from family in this garden, which is
very nice.
what I wanted. And then the step here, I wanted the natural. We might add another one because I'm getting a little older.
Right.
On top of that, but
and I love the concrete patio. Talk about instead of a deck.
Yes, yes.
Such a good idea.
We ended up doing that primarily for cost because it would have been very expensive to do the treks. And I love it. It works great.
Great for this winter too.
Pump was from my husband's grandparents' house.
Nice. Okay.
So we painted it. And
we're just starting to see the view here.
Yep.
So the garden is up towards the house and you have a hill and a field. And,
and then beyond the wall of the garden is big boulders.
Okay.
And we do get grass, but Bob weed whacks it down so we don't interfere with the view.
Anything to add about the mountain view?
Love it. Okay. This is heaven. This is Cloud Mountain. It's my favorite place on earth.
That's great.
So happy to be in this area for our retirement and just love coming out here and sitting all day watching the clouds. Beautiful. We get amazing clouds and it's ever changing minute by minute.
Okay, we're getting a little vista here of all the flowers.
Yeah.
Very colorful, very nice.
You can, if you want to go up here.
Yeah, you're going to.
Okay. So there's some of my hostas.
Okay, so a little bit harder to reach maybe for the deer.
Yes, because it's a little
The
rocky,
hill.
and I have the wind chime, and I also have
Okay.
allium. It's gone by now, but they don't like this. I tried to plant things they don't like the smell of, so that they don't come too close.
Oh, and you even have Pachysandra over there in the sun. How does that do in the sun? It's doing
amazing.
fine? Okay.
So that Pachysandra was Bob's dad's.
Oh, wow.
Probably about a 65-year-old plant.
Nice.
We've had it since we moved up to Barrington in 1998. A lot of it we brought with us. These are white bleeding hearts that have gone by, but that came from one original plant. I think I have 4 or 5 of them in here now. 1, 2, 4 or 5. I have 5 from one plant. And they're really beautiful when they bloom.
Oh, I bet. I don't think I've ever seen them in white.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep. I'm trying to find a pink one for the front. I did buy a red one. There's a red one out there as well. So the big hostas, we planted in Barrington, and I never got to see them ever because the deer would eat them.
Oh.
So I didn't even know what they looked like till we moved here and put them in. The striped ones were Bob's dad's, and they're about 65, 70 years old as well.
Okay. That was ambitious of you to pack stuff up and move it with you.
Yeah, well, it was, again, I'm so attached to them. I didn't want to lose anything. And when we moved the first from Rochester to Barrington, a friend of mine actually kept them in her house and watered them all winter and trying to keep them alive. And then the poppy also came from Barrington. That's under the little sculpture thing.
Okay.
It hasn't bloomed in a couple of years, but it definitely got larger this year. So hopefully next year we'll get some, it has orange flowers. And then the lime hosta, I have 3 of those. I got at the end of the year, and they looked terrible, dead completely. In the fall, and I put them in. Bob's like, oh, they're not going to make it, and I said they will, and now they're doing really well.
Beautiful.
Yep. And then the astilbe is another sentimental story. That plant came from the original, which is down there, and that was Bob's grandmother's, and it's about 80 years old.
Wow.
We've had it for 40.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And they're all due to get split next year. So some of those will go out into the front. And then I have yarrow and I think that's Veronica or Speedwell. I get them confused. But I have pink, purple, blue.
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Yeah. And then salvia. And this is my perennial geranium, which was about that big when I put it in 2 years ago. It's done really well. The storm kind of blew it apart, but it had a perfect shape, dome shape to it. And then I have purple astilbe.
So that seems to be a favorite of yours?
It is a favorite of mine because primarily I like the foliage once the fronds are gone and I cut them back. So it still has interesting foliage to it. And then we have Lily of the Valley, which also came from Bob's dad.
Oh, wonderful.
I didn't want it in here because it tends to be a little invasive, but he loves it, so we planted it. And those are, it's red monarda or bee balm coming up in the middle.
Yeah, so that'll be good for your hummingbirds.
Yep. Oh yeah, I get tons of hummingbirds. And this was the first year I've had bluebirds and indigo buntings, which was really nice to have the colorful birds. And then potentilla, I have a pink hosta. The back that's coming up, those are perennial hydrangeas with the dinner plate flower. Gets about this big.
Oh, really?
When they bloom. Yep. That one is a red one.
Now you said pink hosta. You think you meant astilbe?
Yes, I'm sorry. Pink astilbe right there. Yep.
And the spiderwort. Did you plant it or did it show up there?
Nope. So the spiderwort is another plant that came from Bob's dad.
Okay.
And
was that in New York State? They were
out of New York State.
Okay.
Yep. Everything got moved from New York State, which digging in New York soil is way easier than New Hampshire.
You don't hit a rock every shovel.
Yeah. And then the yarrows only that I put in last year, and that
Pretty
did really
color.
well.
Yeah.
It was only 2 small little plants,
Mhm.
and I kind of like the red coloring. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I had yellow in Barrington.
And what's this curly thing? That's kind of
So
neat.
this is a curly grass,
Huh.
and it actually flowered this year, which I didn't know it flowered, but it had little
That's
white
neat.
flowers on it.
It's kind of hard to see in the picture. But
Yeah,
you
it
can
is. It's
see a little-
different.
It is different.
I tend to go for plants that aren't so common.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like
Right.
different things, different with structure.
And just to get a sense, I'm just showing the window here. So when you're in the house, this is your view, which is lovely, especially the way, you know, the sun is
Yes.
on it. Very nice.
Yes. And this is, I took some of my herbs out of the garden. I had just planted them there to fill in.
Mm-hmm.
So I have them in containers and they're just like taking over.
Yeah, they look great.
They were like 2 sprigs when I put them in.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And see, Julie, I even have rosemary.
You have rosemary finally, and for a little while.
Yeah, for a minute.
We tried. We've got a story trying
Yeah.
to get her to have rosemary inside in the winter. Could happen.
Yes, it could. And my hydrangeas here are getting ready to bloom.
Those are pretty.
Yep. One is pink and one is white, hopefully. Or they may have changed with the soil,
I know.
depending.
They're so pretty.
Yeah, love them. And the salvia, the purple salvia there, that was beautiful. And the storm just like tore it apart. And it was flat yesterday. It was completely flattened out. So, yep. And then there's the red astilbe.
And it's nice having your containers too on the patio level.
I love flowers. I'd have many more.
Right.
But I'm getting older and it's harder to carry all this stuff.
How do you feel about petunia though, deadheading? I find them to be kind of tedious.
I absolutely love the petunias because you get great color.
Mm-hmm.
I always buy either the super petunia or the blue wave that you don't have to deadhead.
Okay.
The ones in the driveway, they're still going even if you don't, but I do tend to deadhead them because I don't like looking at brown. So
No, I hear you.
take it. I
Right.
do take it off.
Yeah, they look good despite
Yeah.
all the rain we've had.
Well, they had a rough start. They really didn't start puffing out till last week with the heat. And I thought I wasn't even going to have the coleus in here because that had been like blackened and soggy, but it popped back up. So
yes, very nice.
I'm glad. And I love birds. So I had a friend, it was my design, but a friend built me the bird pole over there.
Very
and that
nice.
didn't blow down. Even with the wind, our grill ended up over there
I saw
the other
that in the
day. It
picture.
was crazy.
Now tell me about your water feature.
So I have a little fountains that I got on Amazon, and it's supposed to attract the birds if they hear the bubbling water.
Okay.
And then I also have this rock, which I placed here, that has a natural fill. And last night we had a little birdie taking a bath in there, and it was
wonderful.
really cute. I should have filmed it, but
Sometimes you just have to
he
live
was in there
the
for
moment.
like 5 minutes, just
Really?
flapping his wings and rolling around. It was great, and it does attract a lot of wasps.
And this
You
is
get bees.
battery operated or solar operated?
It's solar,
Okay.
completely solar, and I take it out every couple days, change the water, and clean it and keep it
Nice.
going. We've had so much wind that it's been blowing it
Oh, wow.
everywhere. Oh, there goes a hummingbird.
And you have solar lights, I see, which
Yep.
are great.
I have solar lights that light up the garden at night.
There's a hummingbird.
Yep.
Over here,
Yep.
little guy. Don't worry about us.
I get quite a few.
I'm zooming in on them.
And I just put out my
he's
blue
gone.
gazing ball.
I love those.
And I have a purple one too. I just haven't, that one's on a taller stand, and with the wind, I'm a little nervous about putting it out.
Oh, and your daisies have popped already too.
The daisies popped, and I have black-eyed Susans coming.
Love it.
They got also blown over I had to support them, but some of them don't look so good. Yep, so this is the back as we walk around. Again, another natural stone. We're in the process of designing this. This is going to get expanded.
Okay.
I'm going to do a field stone walkway over to the patio.
All right. Nice.
And then this part is going to be a shade.
Oh,
a shade
garden.
planting. Yep.
Okay.
So we're just gonna do it out there. We can't go out further just because our septic is there.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be just this area to encompass the rocks. And then my plans for this is to curve this around, and this will become my cutting garden.
Oh, wonderful.
So I want to plant a ton of flowers that I can cut and make bouquets out of.
Mm-hmm. So this is how it looks from down below. So you can see it's quite a slope.
Yes.
So the deer really have to work to get up there.
They do. Which is why I think I have the hostas.
Because there's easier places to get to. Yeah, that doesn't look like that would be fun to cut the grass there.
No, it isn't. And then that's our leach field that's uncut, just because he can't ride over it with the tractor.
Oh, okay. And then so your thought is to keep this open.
I love to have this. He just mowed it down with the brush hog.
Okay.
Only because with the height of the grass, you don't see the animals. And we get a lot of animals in the field, especially deer at night,
Mm-hmm.
porcupines. We have a coyote. We have a bobcat. And I've seen a moose. There's been a moose there too.
That's great. So what are your thoughts for your shade garden as far as plants? What do you think?
I'm probably going to put some of the white astilbes.
Okay, so that does well in shade also?
It does. It actually is more of a shade plant.
Mm-hmm.
And the white tends to brown out quickly in the full sun. So I think if I move them over here, they'll stay whiter longer.
Okay.
They were in full sun in Barrington, but they seem to stay, the fronds stayed for a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
And here it seems like I get about a week and then they start turning.
These are the ones that were blown over the other night?
These have been blown over twice now.
Wow.
And I have had no luck with tomatoes. I've had seeds from
Mm-hmm.
people that have given me seeds from Italy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, like rosemary, seem to never be able to get a tomato. So this year I just threw the whole seed packet in. And I'm like, let it go, see what happens.
It's happening.
And everything's took off and is, hopefully I'll get tomatoes, but
Yeah, they look good.
yeah. I don't know if I will, but I'm going to try. And then this is the patio that we put in for the fire pit last year. Last year? Yeah. And I have a few containers. I had that one on a pedestal, but it blew over. So now it's on the ground.
Right.
But we do get some severe wind here off the mountain.
Sure.
It's
So
very
do
interesting.
you have hose that reaches all these? Or you
Yep, I have a hose. We put
the garage.
spigots on each side,
Okay.
and they're 100-foot hoses. So we use the
the
Flexilla ones that
Okay.
are just lightweight, and it's not really hard to drag them out. That one I can water everything.
That's nice.
We just planted the blue spruce as well. My
That's
baby
cute.
blue. I had to have a blue spruce,
Okay.
and that's probably pretty much the one I could afford.
I know they are so pricey.
Crazy.
Yeah, beautiful.
But again, we did the patio, is manufactured stone, but I really like the natural kind of not set surround.
Well, it's nice for walking as we age to have a smooth surface instead of an ankle twister.
And my fabulous neighbor donated all the granite to us,
he
which
did?
was, yes, he did.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I need a neighbor like that.
He's like, I have some in the yard, come get it.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's beautiful. Oh, and did you put the rocks around these trees here?
no, they were kind of pushed
Kinda
there
like that?
from the builder.
Okay.
All these big boulders came from where they actually dug the foundation.
Oh, all right.
And thankfully we didn't have to blast, but there
Okay.
was a humongous pile of big rocks. And Ron just kind of threw them over there, made a little wall with some of them.
Yeah, that worked out well.
It did. And then he also did this. And
it's nice you were able to keep a few nice trees.
I love them. Bob wants to take some down, but it's not going to happen while I'm here.
You got to put a sap bucket on that one.
Well, we have a whole row, and that's his goal next year, is to you know, do sap.
Then he'll love the trees then.
Yep.
Very nice.
So we do have 28 acres here. A lot of it has grown up. It was originally cleared for a development when we bought the property. So he's in the process of, you know, cutting trails through.
Oh, wonderful. Yes.
And
that'll be fun.
there's pretty much views the whole way as you head back. Like you have different views of the mountain. The plan next year is to have an arborist come in. We're going to take down a lot of the bigger trees. I would like those pines removed and some of the down below because we're starting to lose our view.
Right.
And then we get the sunset over here and it's beautiful, but we can only see part of it.
Right.
So once those trees are gone, we'll be able to have more sunset view.
Very nice. And you still have privacy even when you take those trees down.
Yeah, yeah.
Deb's going to tell us about her moon garden vision.
I do have a future plan to possibly create a moon garden, maybe in this area. I haven't quite narrowed down where I want it, but I want all stone, the garden gate with a little wall and probably plantings around it.
So why is it called a moon garden?
Because it's a focal point in a garden, and some people call it a moon garden just because of the round shape.
Okay.
Some people place them in the garden where they know the moon is going to be, and they can actually see the moon through it.
Okay. I'll get a picture and I'll post it in here so people can see that.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the gazing balls as well. I don't know if you know a lot about the history of those. I don't. So gazing balls came to be in the Victorian era when people had small gardens in their backyard or courtyard, and the purpose is to reflect what you have and make it look larger.
Okay.
So that's the purpose. And then that area, do you want me to talk about that?
Sure, yeah, why not? So when you have new construction, you have these elements that are right there.
It is. So in this area, I would like to have some Japanese maple trees.
That would be pretty.
A low growing one that's kind of an orangey color.
Okay.
And then possibly a lime green one.
Oh, very pretty.
And just, you know, eventually we'll get rid of the grass in there as well.
So it's a good thing you're retired now because you're going to need all the time.
And I also have an idea for a pondless waterfall.
Oh, I like that idea too.
Rock sculpture, and he actually liked the picture. I showed it to him, so I'm investigating how to do it. Not a pumpless, a pondless.
Pondless.
Usually, if you have like some kind of a waterfall feature, there's a pond up top where it runs down. But they have new ones now that you don't need to have a pond.
Okay, that sounds
great. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear like the rippling water at the fire pit.
Okay, lots to do.
Yes.
I don't think Bob should have retired.
Yes, he loves it. He likes doing the stonework, so that's good.
That's awesome. And you got to have your pots everywhere, which are your containers.
I do.
Which are very beautiful. I should
put the garage doors down so you don't see the garbage in it.
Oh, it's real. It's like a real garage. Actually, it's not. It's way neater than most garages. Deb, thanks for having us to your beautiful gardens and property and telling us about your plants and your vision.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and enjoying the property. We call it Cloud Mountain, and we just love it here, and I can't wait to finish.
It'll never be finished.
It'll never be finished.
So what are tips for people who are doing new construction?
Well, if you have an interest in what you want, I know that our builder, when he placed the rocks for me, him and my husband were like, we have no idea what you're doing. Like, are you sure you know what you're doing? Right. And I'm like, don't worry, I have a vision. I know what I want it to look like. And so just have a vision. And the best thing I find is if you come across articles or pictures, cut them out, create a folder, and then, you can figure out the plantings with the sun and the shade from there. Just find things you like.
That's good.
If you like interesting plants, then don't do the traditional stuff. Kind of search out the plants that you want.
That's good advice. Good tips.
Yeah.
So thanks again, Deb.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming to see.